Hello and welcome to another assembly here from St Nicholas Church. Today we've got a special story for you to start with, and this is called Mr Wolf's Pancakes. One day Mr Wolf was feeling hungry. He fancied some pancakes. Yum, yum, he said, licking his lips at the thought of a big pile of fresh pancakes. But Mr Wolf had never made pancakes before, so he took down his big recipe book off the shelf and looked inside. But wolves aren't very good at reading, and he had big trouble making sense of the recipe, so he went to get help from some of his neighbours. He called on Chicken Licken, who lived right nearby. "Please, can you help me read this?" he asked. "No," said the chicken, slamming the door in Mr Wolf's face. Bang! "Oh dear," sighed Mr Wolf. He sat down slowly and read the book and worked out what he needed, all by himself. Mr Wolf looked in his cupboard and he checked he had the right ingredients, but he couldn't find everything he needed. "I'll go to the shop," he thought, and settled down to write a list. But wolves aren't very good at writing, so Mr Wolf called on Wee Willie Winkie. "You're very clever," he said. "Can you help me write my shopping list, please?" "No," his friend said. "Go away," and slammed the door. Bang! "Well, there's no need to be like that," said Mr Wolf quietly. So Mr Wolf sat down at home and started writing his list, trying very, very hard, all by himself. Now he needed to count some money to make sure he had enough for his shopping. But wolves aren't very good at counting, so he went to his friend the gingerbread man and asked him for some help. "Can you help me, please, to count my money?" he asked politely. "No, I'm too busy to be bothered with you," said the gingerbread man, and slammed his door. Bang! So poor Mr Wolf went home and sat down and counted his money. It took him a long time before he had it right, but he did it all by himself. Mr Wolf now needed a basket to carry his shopping, but he didn't have one, so he called on his friend Little Red Riding Hood. "Please, Little Red Riding Hood, may I borrow your basket?" he asked very nicely. "I'm not lending you my basket," said Little Red Riding Hood. "Now clear off." Said Mr Wolf, and set off to the shop without a basket. "I'll manage by myself," he said. So Mr Wolf went to the shops. He looked at his list, remembered what he needed, and counted his money, and carried eggs, milk and flour home, all by himself. Now it was time to make the pancakes, but wolves aren't very good at cooking, so Mr Wolf called on the 3 little pigs. "Please, can you help me cook my pancakes? I'll share them with you," he said kindly. "No chance," chorused the pigs, and slammed their doors. Bang, bang, bang. Mr Wolf felt very sad because nobody wanted to help him. So Mr Wolf went home and started to make the pancakes all by himself. And soon there was a huge pile of delicious pancakes on the table, all ready for eating. Yummy. Now, as Mr Wolf had been making his pancakes, a lovely smell had drifted out of the kitchen, and all his neighbours could smell it, and it made them feel very, very hungry. They wanted pancakes too, so they tried their luck. They knocked on Mr Wolf's door. "Give us some of your pancakes," said the rotten lot. "Why should I give you any of my pancakes?" said Mr Wolf. "Nobody would help me." "Well, we'll help you eat them," replied Mr Wolf's neighbours. Anyway, we're not going away until you give us some. Mr. Wolf thought very hard for a moment. There was only one decent thing to do. Very well, he sighed. You'd better come in. So Mr. Wolf opened the door widely, and whoosh! His greedy neighbours rudely pushed past him and dashed down the hall. Mr. Wolf shook his head and shrugged his shoulders, following them into the kitchen, and when they were all inside, Mr. Wolf gobbled them all up, snippety-snappety, and that was the end of his nasty neighbours. And then with his bulging tummy, not quite full, Mr. Wolf sat down to eat his pile of pancakes, and he did that all by himself. Well, there was no one else there around. I've now moved back home now, and I wonder what you thought about that story. It's a bit of a cheeky wolf, isn't he? Not really the right thing to do, even if his friends weren't very kind either. I wonder if you like pancakes too. Over the next week, we might be having lots of pancakes when we celebrate Pancake Day on Tuesday the 16th of February. Or maybe we call it by its real name, which is Shrove Tuesday, which is a day in the old days when we eat everything up that we really, really like. All the sugar and the syrup and the chocolate spread and the honey and the squirt cream and the strawberries and anything else you might like on a pancake. And then the next day, on the Wednesday, we begin 40 days of Lent, which is a time to think a bit more about other people rather than just ourselves, and spend some more time with God, getting ready to prepare for Easter. So over the next few days, I hope you really get some really special time with your family, and you can enjoy some pancakes, and maybe you can even let us know what your favourite topping is. So keep safe and have fun and a really good half term. Bye for now.